Hello everyone, and welcome to the Maximizing Medical Billing webinar. We appreciate you taking the time to join us today. This is Dave Trask with Opti-Port, and joining me on our side will be Angie Vera, Opti-Port's meeting coordinator. First thing, as we talk through the webinar, your phones will be muted. So if you have questions as we go through the slides, please type them in the question box on the lower portion of the GoToWebinar informational box. Angie will relay those questions, and we will do our best to answer them today. And if for some reason we need to track something down, obviously we will definitely get back to you. In addition to doing the webinar live, it will also be recorded and posted on the Opti-Port member website. Again, you can access the member website by going to optiport.com, and in the upper right-hand corner, clicking on the member login, and that'll take you right there. Opti-Port continues to grow and bring together the best multi-office practices in the country. We currently have 34 member practices totaling over 400 locations, making us the #1 multi-office alliance in the industry. So thank you for your support. So today, we would like to thank Zeiss, our longtime vendor partner, for sponsoring our webinar. We will be going through a review of the opportunity to really drive revenue through medical billing, more exams per hour, utilizing pre-testing equipment, and talking about the Zeiss Essential line and how it can help you do this. Our speaker today is Matthew West. Matthew is the Associate Director for Dispensing Tools and Instruments. He has 18 years of experience in the ophthalmic market as an optician and refractionist, and has been with Zeiss for the past year and a half. He has worked in product development and launch of over 25 instruments and technologies, including 3 digital refraction systems, 3 slit lamp imaging systems, and a digital centration system. With Zeiss, Matthew's focus is on development of Zeiss's digital refraction systems, launching the Zeiss Essential line, ER integration, and sales management. So he's definitely a busy guy, and we definitely want to thank him very much for joining us today and leading our webinar. Matthew, I'm now going to hand the floor over to you.
Thank you very much. We appreciate the opportunity to show you what we've been working on, and we're excited to unveil what we call the Zeiss Essential line. So for the past 3 years, we've been working behind the scenes to get back into the routine diagnostic business that Zeiss has been out of for over a decade. So everyone's quite familiar with our lenses and our coatings, and also aware of our medical instruments through our sister company, Meditech. But we made a strategic alliance about 3 years ago to create a new line of routine diagnostics and enter back into the market to complete our portfolio from lenses to routine diagnostics and also to the medical instruments from Meditech. And the Essential line is our core focus of our talk today. So everyone's familiar with our slit lamps and again some of our other technologies, but the Essential line now enters into the pretest equipment area and the slit lamp imaging and the refraction area in the doctor's exam room, and then also into the dispensary with our digital centration. So the Essential line is evolving from our profiler and our centration technology, and now giving us a complete portfolio. So what's important to understand about what we laid as a foundation for our Essential line is that it's a line of routine diagnostics that allows the doctor to fill in different pieces that the doctor may need in their practice, or put them together with a holistic approach for increasing revenue through billing retinal images or anterior segment images, or overall just increasing revenue by increasing efficiency. And it's important to understand that we have flexibility and levels of efficiency that can be created for really any office, whether it's a new office, existing work office, or an office that's growing and needs to expand. So This gives us an overview of the essential line, beginning with the objective refraction. So we consider the objective refraction components our VISULENS 500 automated Lensmeter, our VISUREF 100 autorefractor keratometer, and our iProfiler Plus, which has been on the market. It's not a new product for the essential line for the last 5 years, but it fits into this essential line and with the refraction system. We then move to the glaucoma and retinal screening devices, our VISUPLAN 500 automated non-contact tonometer, as well as our VISUSCOUT 100 handheld fundus camera. Now we step from the pretest room into the exam room, where we talk more about our slit lamps. That, if you're not aware, we made the first slit lamp over a century ago, and we now add slit lamp imaging to our slit lamps. So everyone's seen our slit lamps in school, and we've now kind of freshened them up and added a slit lamp imaging system to them, and are helping everyone understand that anterior segment and posterior segment imaging can be added to any Zeiss slit lamp out in the market. And then we talk about our subjective refraction. The subjective refraction is built around our flagship product, which is our VISUPHOR 500 and our VISUSCREEN 100, our digital refractor and our acuity screen. Those work together as a pair to then interact with the objective refraction data to give the refraction systems that we'll speak about coming up. And of course, this line then complements our Meditech instruments with the routine diagnostics, as well as the leading diagnostics for OCT, for fields, for fundus imaging, and connectivity to forum. So these are in the similar spaces that we have in the pretest room with our Meditech products as well. So why choose Zeiss? A long tradition in the industry of innovations. We developed the first slit lamp, obviously the HFA perimeter, that's the gold standard for perimetry, the first OCT, and also the first biometer. So many examples of Zeiss first, and this essential line just carries over the capability of our company to grow into new spaces and continue to offer new products to help doctors increase revenue and efficiency. So with the portfolio with lenses and routine diagnostics and the Meditech products, we're really a one-source partner for service, for equipment, and integration with EMR. So again, an overview, we have our objective refraction, our glaucoma and retinal pretests, our slit lamp and accessories, our subjective refraction. But here we add a new image to think about. It's really important to know that when we designed our essential line, we didn't decide to pick specific pieces and launch it with kind of a list of different instruments. We really thought about activity and how they interact together and the flow of the data and how that data will get into the EMR. That's really important. So data connectivity really flows from all pieces here, of course, into the exam, into the EMR at the end. So we first begin with our VISUREF 100. We designed a basic autorefractor. It's also a keratometer, and it's designed to be at an aggressive price point and be very basic and accurate. We could have developed a lot more features like some previous models we created with our Humphreys line, but with this particular product, we decided to bring a product to market that is at a good price, it's accurate, and it has the major features you need for an autorefractor keratometer. Our auto lens meter, the VISULENS 500, has the capability of measuring single vision, bifocals, reading prism, as well as tinted lenses. We have a unique technology with an LED integrated LED lighting system that allows us to not have to change the ABI value. Most auto lens meters, you have to change the ABI value of the instrument of settings depending on the type of lens. With ours, it doesn't matter what type of lens it is, whatever the ABI value is, it'll accurately read the the lens and allow for also measuring UV within the lens as well. And both of these pieces, the VISULENS and the VISUREF, those integrate with our refraction system. And again, what's important to note is we brought these out at a very aggressive price point. That brings us into the glaucoma and retinal pretest instruments and the VISUPLAN 500. This is a fully automated, non-contact tonometer. The patient puts the forehead against the forehead rest, and with one button, the unit automatically aligns, fires, and then we move over to the other eye. So it's very accurate, and of course, being a non-contact tonometer, there's no need for any anesthetics or fluorescein. So it helps increase efficiency for glaucoma detection. And next we have our VISUSCOUT 100. This is where we really start talking about how our instruments can create revenue. So for our VISUSCOUT 100, we really changed the way doctors can view retinal imaging. Most of the time we think of a retinal camera being a $25,000, $30,000 instrument. It gets great photos of the retina, but has a high price tag. So when we developed this VISUSCOUT 100, we made it so it's totally portable, yet still gives a 40-degree field of view, which is just 5 degrees less than the $30,000 desktop retinal cameras. So you really get the same results you would get with a desktop camera, but you have it at a much lower price point, and you can still build just the same as you would with a desktop retinal camera. Average is $60 for a retinal photo for Medicare, and then because it's portable, this really is an exciting thing to bring up, that we also have an ADA tax credit that could be applied as well. So instead of a $30,000 camera, we've got a $10,000 camera, and then with the ADA tax credit, which could be up to $5,000, you're now looking at an opportunity for a almost $5,000 retinal camera after the government tax credit. It's very easy to use. It just takes a few minutes to understand how to align the patient and take readings. It gives us the capability of a color photo, but also a red-free photo at the same time. And then because it's totally portable, we designed the capability of sending the image via Wi-Fi or USB or even a DICOM option.
Hey, Matthew.
Yes.
Hi, this is Dave. We did have a question that came in just a minute ago. The question is, yes, what billing codes are available? And so I'm not sure which piece of equipment, since we're about a minute or two behind, but if you could talk a little bit about the billing codes available, I guess, with some of the equipment, and then if whoever asked that question could, if there's clarification, just type that in the question box. But can you handle that one?
Sure. 92580. I don't have that in front of me in the slide, but there's a couple different codes. There's one just for an interpretation and report, but then there's also a screening code. So what I'll do is I'll follow up and get those codes emailed out to everyone so that you're familiar with the normal, normal code for reimbursing for a retinal photo. You have to have an interpretation and report, but there's also a new code for screening as well. So I'll get those out to you on all the different products as a follow-up. Great question. So these are the stepping stones to the Fundus camera. The VISUSCOUT is. It's a stepping stone to the other products within the Zeiss product line. The VISUCAM retinal camera, the desktop unit we have with Meditech, and of course that's a stepping stone to the Cirrus Photo, which is an OCT, and then obviously the new Cirrus HD OCT, which is the gold standard in OCT technology. So slit lamps, as I mentioned earlier, everyone used them in school. We didn't focus on them for quite a while, but we focused on creating OCTs and new HFAs. But we're back into the slit lamp arena with 3 different models: our 115 slit lamp, our 120 slit lamp, and our higher-end 130 slit lamp. The differences between the first two are really the 115 slit lamp, which has the same optics throughout all models, is designed to be a basic slit lamp for every lane. So it has 3 magnifications and, of course, Zeiss optics. Then we would step to the 120 slit lamp when we want to talk about slit lamp imaging, more magnifications and more features built in for advanced slit lamp imaging. The 130 slit lamp is more of a surgical slit lamp and a higher end, but nonetheless, we've got a slit lamp for every need. Okay, so now we talk about our slit lamps, but adding to it a slit lamp imaging system. So we've designed the capability of adding a camera using the computer that's already in the exam room and allowing for the doctor to take videos and still images with the slit lamp, be able to educate the patient on their eye, and particularly what's of interest to point out by the doctor of that particular patient's eye. And it's not as well known. You don't really think about this, but of course the slit lamp, you look at the anterior and posterior segments of the eye, but you can also bill anterior and posterior segments. The average is $30 for an anterior segment photo, and just like a retinal camera, the photo for the Retina is average of $60. There's two different billing codes I'll supply for those, but again, that same billing is exactly the same thing as a retinal camera. In other words, your slit lamp imaging system could double as a retinal imaging system as well as an anterior segment imaging. So this is probably one of the most exciting products to talk about for ROI, that it allows to bill for both anterior and segment photos and posterior segment photos. And on top of that, it's hard to put a price on the education that we could provide the patient. If you've got a video and image of that patient's eye, chances are very, very high they're not going to go somewhere else for any kind of eye care. So slit lamp imaging is an exciting new module that adds to any of our new slit lamps, but also to our current slit lamps that are out in the market from Zeiss. Now we talk about the flagship product of our we call the Essential line, but our refraction systems, and that would be the VISUPHOR 500 automated phoropter and our Acuity screen. So we developed these to work in conjunction with one another, but if you have a second exam or a third exam room and want to eventually outfit it with the digital system down the road, you can always buy the VISUSCREEN by itself, and then always add the VISUPHOR on down the road and use a manual refractor if need be. But these are designed to work with each other, and then of course integrate with our VISUREP autorefractor, our VISULENS Lensmeter, and our iProfiler, so that we have that data seamlessly moving from the pretest room into the exam room. So we all remember from 10 or 15 years ago, BlackBerry and phones that had knobs and buttons, and they could only do certain things. Well, we decided not to go in that direction, and we decided we'd have different technology than even the other refraction systems on the market that still have knobs and buttons, and they can only do one thing, and eventually the buttons aren't going to work, and you're limited to what they can do. We decided we would come out with today's technology and for the future using an iPad. So from the front, when a patient comes into the office and they see that an iPad is going to follow the patient into the pretest room, and the instruments there are controlled and the data sent through the iPad then follows the patient into the exam room. So the patient's now seeing what we call the Zeiss experience, that the data and the instruments really have to do with one another, and it's all about how this technology can help the patient, and they'll see this through the iPad following them into the exam room, where the doctor will pick up the iPad, controlled automated phoropter, continue through the entire refraction, and then at the end that data goes into the EMR, and the iPad can be picked up after the exam is done in the exam room, and then onto the dispensary, where the iPad also controls our i.Terminal 2 digital centration device, as well as our i.Terminal mobile centration technology. And then, of course, that fits into our lenses, where we can have a lifestyle questionnaire, and we can show more of the coatings, and we can demonstrate the different lenses. So it really now completes what we call the Zeiss experience, from the front to the pretest to the exam room and into the dispensary. This is what we call the Zeiss experience, and this is completely different than some of the other products on the market that are one product here and another here, and they don't seamlessly feed together into a holistic approach. And of course, being on an iPad, we have infinite controls of icons and buttons. No more knobs and dials that other systems may use. And no more cables and cords. Our technology uses Wi-Fi and Bluetooth technology to get the data throughout the exam room, pretest room, and dispensary. So we like to say with our refraction system, you have more face-to-face time and less face-to-phoropter time. And all this is done ergonomically and with an iPad, different than other technologies. So our graphical interface gives you all the different tests you would normally perform with a manual refractor at your fingertips within a aesthetically designed interface on the iPad. So you'll see the connection of the instrument begins all around the refraction in the exam room with the VISUPHOR and VISUSCREEN, which are controlled via the iPad and connect into your Wi-Fi and to your EMR system. So then on top of that, we think of levels of efficiency. How and where do you want your practice to be more efficient? So we add to the exam room with the VISUPHOR and VISUSCREEN. We then add the pretest equipment, the VISUREF, the VISULENS, and the iProfiler. Again, all using Bluetooth technology and no cables throughout between the rooms. The key benefits to remember are that it's flexible, it's simple to use, it's intuitive and increases efficiency. And when you'll see in a few moments, when you add the iProfiler, it really changes how you refract. A lot of times on most patients we found, you don't necessarily have to continue to test the cylinder and axis because the data from the iProfiler is so accurate. It's really a fingerprint of their eye, and it really cuts down on the refraction time when you add an iProfiler to a refraction system. And then, of course, ergonomics. You can refract sitting down near your patient and be comfortable. So why go digital? Less than 5% of doctors in the U.S. are using a digital refraction system, so there's a lot of opportunity to be more efficient and to help create more revenue through this efficiency. So let's try to remove back pain. Optometry is one of the only professions where you have to keep your hands in the air all day long. If we can change that, put your hands back down, we'll remove back pain and bursitis, and refraction will be much more efficient from an ergonomics point of view. And with our refraction system, we have what's called a money button. So without our refraction system, patients really can't understand or perceive very well the difference between your old prescription and the new prescription. So with our system, you can instantly show the old prescription by clicking a button, and then within, like blinking, you then can see show the patient the new prescription, the manifest refraction. So it's like old prescription, blink, new prescription, and it really puts it back into the patient's hands that they see a difference. And even if it's a slight difference, maybe a quarter to refraction system or optometrist isn't a big deal. It's not a lot of power, but to a patient it can be perceived as a lot of power. So they do see that instant difference, and that's what we call at Zeiss the money button. And now talking about increasing efficiency, we really want to help doctors learn how to become more efficient in their practice. So operational efficiency needs to increase. That's at the heart of a practice. We need to see more patients. We need to help increase revenue. And it's not about pushing patients through faster just because of time's sake. It's more opening up time to talk to the patients more and seeing patients in a more efficient process. And of course, that revolves around the people, the processes that we put in place, and the technology that altogether can increase efficiency. Our doctors are reporting that on average, we can see 2 to 3 more patients a day with our refraction systems, and of course, that means more time to talk with patients about options, or maybe just more patients throughout the day to increase revenue. Here's a conservative estimate to think about. If you can see 1 more patient per day, and we have an average of $80 for an exam fee, that's fairly average. $150 profit per glasses. I think that's probably fairly low, but that's a good average. That equates to $1,150 increased revenue per week, and then of course per month, and then what can seem to be staggering, over $55,000 profit per year by just seeing 1 more patient a day. And of course, with our doctors saying sometimes 2 and 3 more patients a day, you can see how refraction systems are not really as expensive as you would think, but really it's that they increase the revenue more than you would have ever imagined. Now with our refraction systems, we have upgrades in technology. We have our iProfile Plus, which is again not just an autofractor, it's an aberrometer. It's also built with our Atlas corneal topography, which is a gold standard for topography, and obviously it's also a keratometer. So if you're looking for just an autofractor, we have that. If you're looking for that step up of efficiency and creating more time and less refraction steps, our profile additive refraction system can provide less ones and twos with less zones for an access check. We have our i.Terminal 2 and our i.Terminal mobile centration technology. So if we're taking to have the best lenses that Zeiss offers and the best coatings and the best equipment to see patients and the best instruments to help look for any kind of disease and screening, then it makes sense to also spend some time talking about how our centration technology can create the same type of exact measurements and give the parameters for the best fitting of the glasses and the lenses within. And then we have our VISUSCREEN 500. So built on our iPolar test technology, we also have an upgrade to the VISUSCREEN 100, which is a 500 that has polarization tests built in. So if you're a vision therapy doctor or you want to be more efficient using polarized tests, our VISUSCREEN 500 also has polarized tests built in for vision therapy and some additional tests. Again, our profile like Atlas built into it, and it gets at the fingerprint of the patient's eye and sends that data over to the refraction system. And using i.Terminal 2, it's 60% faster than using manual processes. So we may think, a Sharpie and a PD stick are pretty easy ways to take the measurements. Well, if you're taking all this time, why not also create a different perception than using these old things that have been around a while with our centration technology? It enforces to the patient that you're investing in technology, and we want to have as much precise and accurate readings as we do with our equipment as we have with our lenses and our measurements of our frames. And we have two systems that we talk about. We have what we call our initial refraction system and our advanced and our premium. So the advanced refraction system includes instruments such as our VisuRef and our VISULENS, and then those tie into the refraction system and the i.Terminal mobile. But the step up from that, which is the eye profiler, gives us the capability of getting the fingerprint of the eye and not just getting a ballpark and a good starting point from refraction, a really precise starting point, which can mean if you have really precise beginning points, you may end up with a different end point than you would ever thought you would have had with the traditional autofractor. Because what we're doing with our aberrometer is we're not just taking readings in a lit room with an autofractor and then taking a refraction in the exam room. We're looking at the pupil changing its range over time and over different lighting conditions, which will then give us a different result with our iScription technology. So our iScription gives us the capability of taking the aberrometry data, blending in the information from the objective refraction, becoming or creating a unique lens for that patient over a range of pupil size, which gives us the result of the best lenses for both day and night wear. And that's completely different than any other technology on the market. And of course, designing our system, we knew we needed to make sure that our technology interfaces with the EMR. So with the integrations you see on the screen, that's 90% of the EMR companies out in the marketplace. And with our refraction system, when you're done, everything from the pretest room, again, moves into the exam room, and then with the press of a button on the iPad, the data goes right into the EMR. So the efficiency, again, levels of efficiency, the highest level of efficiency is taking all that data and sending it seamlessly right into the EMR. So Some things to think about. Only Zeiss can offer the capability of having your medical be offset by your optical. What I mean by that is we can put a program together by doing just a few lenses with Zeiss. We can offset the cost of some of your medical costs. So this helps your optical pay for some of your medical. So if you haven't thought about going digital, we can put an end-to-end solution together so your patient feels a different experience at every touch point from the pretest and dispensary. So continuum of care. Continuum of care is one of the founding blocks and one of the guiding principles of our company. And continuum of care is, as you see in this slide, starting when the patient walks in with the eye demo and learning more about the Zeiss lenses and how the data then flows from the pretest equipment into the objective refraction, through to the subjective refraction, and into our centration technology and our lenses. So obviously you see here a change in what you're used to seeing of Zeiss. Zeiss, you think of lenses, you think of medical instruments, but now our continuum of care is running throughout the practice and provides an end-to-end solution that no other company really has to offer. That is my overview of the essential line. Do I have any questions?
Hi, Matthew. Thank you very much for that information. A couple of questions came in. How long is training? So if somebody decided to put in the essential line and get that integrated into their offices, what's a typical time frame like?
That's a great question. So I think I'll answer the question this way and narrow it down to the refraction system. Individual instruments, training can happen within 30 minutes to an hour. But for the refraction systems, how we take what you do with the manual refractor and we evolve that into a digital refraction system. So we have a team come in and they assess your practice environment, network environment, and we get all the equipment set up. And then we're there for 1 to 2 day training, depending on how many exam rooms there are. So at the end of 2 days, it's very normal to transform your practice from a manual process of refraction into a digital process. And it may seem daunting to have to, what you're used to doing with your hands in the air in a dark room and now seeing it on an iPad. But the way we develop our system, it's fully customizable. So we take what you have done with your refraction process manually and we transform it into a digital capability on the iPad. So the answer is about at the end of 2 days, you'll be up and going with refracting and seeing patients with the refraction system. So it's about a 2 day process to transform into a refraction system. If there's 2 or 3 or 4 exam rooms, maybe another day or 2, depending on how many doctors are in the practice. But 1 to 2 days, and then you start seeing patients with the refraction system. That's a great question. What other questions do we have?
All right. Have you seen more medical testing for the practices that are utilizing the digital equipment versus what they were doing before?
Yes, especially with our slit lamp imaging system. So anterior segment imaging is really kind of a forgotten technology that doctors don't really think about or haven't thought about since they were in school. Obviously, there's observation tubes, but anterior segment imaging is probably one of the biggest opportunities to increase medical billing and practices with the slit lamp imaging system, because you're using the slit lamp anyways, so by just pressing the button, we'll instantly see videos and still images, and that's one of the biggest increases in revenue we see. Retinal cameras are well known in the industry and have been around for many years, but to change the price of the retinal camera and to change the capability of having a handheld really has increased the capabilities of a practice to create more medical billing. So it's all about the revenue that we get back. It's not about billing. It's more about what are you getting back and what are you able to get paid by Medicare, right? So using anterior segment and posterior segment imaging is a great way to increase revenue. That's kind of a separate medical model than the increasing revenue with efficiencies and what the refraction systems can do. So it's almost a 1-2 punch that our systems give you. The essential line gives you medical billing. It also gives you increased efficiency, increased revenue from increased optical business and patient flow. I'll be sure to give the medical codes, the medical billing codes. And by the way, all the different insurances, they really follow Medicare's lead. So if you've got a different insurance that you provide, then they all follow Medicare's codes. And I'll be sure I send these out as a follow-up to everyone. Any other questions?
All right. That is it as far as additional questions. So again, if anybody has last-minute questions, please type them into the box in that lower right-hand corner. So thank you, Matt. That was great information. And again, we want to thank Zeiss for sponsoring today's webinar. Again, we cannot put on these programs without the help of our vendor partners, and appreciate Zeiss as being one of ours. So for more information, you can reach out to me at Opti-Port, Dave.Trask at Opti-Port.com, or Cheryl Vesio at Zeiss. Her contact information is on the member website, and we'll be happy to get you in touch with Matthew or anybody else on the team that might be able to delve further into this topic for you. So finally, to wrap up today, we are looking forward to seeing everybody at our Spark conference at Vision Expo West in September. We anticipate to have about 25 member companies in attendance, and we'll have some great information sharing, best practice sharing. So it is definitely a don't miss meeting. So hopefully you all can make it and join us there. We will be sending out more information on the specific agenda topics in the coming weeks. Again, thank you to Zeiss, to Matthew, and to Angie for getting this meeting set up for us and running the webinar. Have a great day, everybody, and we will see you next month.
Thanks, everyone.